For exercise number 1 in chapter 4, what we'd like to do is find the last occurrence of a particular pattern within a given string. In order to do that, we actually want to understand what is going on in the example provided on the previous page, where we're able to find a pattern within a given string, or really the first instance of a pattern on the given string. So let's imagine for a moment that we have a string, let's say to be or not to be, and what we're going to try and do is see where B appears in that string. The way that the algorithm works is that we start in the beginning and we're going to move I. I in this instance is going to keep track of the position in the actual string that we're trying to examine or try to find where B, or this word or the pattern, exists inside of it. And for each time we're going to go through the loop, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be moving I along one instance to try and find the first place where B occurs. So if we take a look at this, we're going to start at the beginning. We're going to try and see if the first character of T and B match. And then since they don't, we're going to move it along to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And we're going to keep doing that until we finally get to a place where J, which is the position where we're starting from within the string, and B equal. So you're going to see that the J and K in this instance are the same letter. So K is pointing up at the pattern that we're trying to find, and J is pointing at the position within the string that we're going to try and match. And then we're going to try and see and along and keep moving, and we're going to keep moving both of them in tandem until we get to the end of the pattern that we're looking for, or we find a mismatch. And in this instance, as we can see, we actually got to the end of the pattern. So BE, we found that pattern. And the example code that we have actually says, let's go ahead and give back I. Well, what's I? I is where we started from. I is the starting position in the original string that we were trying to find the pattern in where this occurs. Now, for our example, for our problem that we're trying to solve in this exercise, what we can actually do, we can continue to search the string, and as opposed to stopping in this place, we can actually keep going all the way till the end. Now we can even imagine we can have multiple B's match up in this string, but we just want to keep the last one. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to keep moving along and moving along until we get to the end of the main string. And we're all just going to remember, we're just going to store a temporary value in our code for where the last or most recent instance was where B matched up, or the pattern that we were looking for matched up. In this instance is B. So we're going to keep moving along. As you can see, we're going to the next letter, and then the next letter, and then the next letter, and then the next letter, and eventually we get to the last one in to be or not to be. And hey, it matches up, and so that is what we are going to then return. If we take a look at the code now, we can see that the implementation is actually very similar. So for the implementation for str index is quite close to the one that we have for str index. The difference being is we're going to add an extra variable that's going to keep track of where the last place was where we matched up. Not only that, we can actually start it at -1. The reason being is that if we never find a match, we can just return -1. So never was an instance where that happened. And instead of returning I in the code, we're just going to set it to the last place where we were able to successfully match the pattern in the string to this new variable. And then we're going to call it the last index found. And then we're just going to return that value at the end of the function. There's an alternative approach where what we do is we find the length of the string and we move backwards, but this seems to be a slightly more natural approach to just continue searching inside of the function. It makes it a little bit more readable, and we can add the necessary comments. This then now becomes the solution to the problem. What we're going to do now, we're actually going to go ahead and test it out. I'm going to go ahead and start the program. We're going to put in to be or not to be, and I'm going to actually print out where B occurs in this string, and hopefully we get two different values. We're going to get both the str index 1, which is going to show us the first occurrence. Yep, that's 0, 1, 2, 3. That's right, the first index is 3. And then it's going to show us also the other occurrence, which would be the last one in the string. And so we can see that also comes out correctly. This concludes exercise number 1 in chapter 4. You can see find the code in GitHub. I hope this has been helpful to you in both thinking about functions and methods, as well as understanding the solution.